I was talking to my caregiver client this week about growth mindset. I thought of one of my most recent examples of that. Just over a year ago, I decided I was so frustrated with the healthcare system, the lack of guidance, the lack of resources. So I thought, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and I'm going to do some videos about how to push back a little against this broken healthcare system. I'll do some physical therapy videos, I'll do some caregiving videos, I'll do some dementia videos, because to me it felt like a way that I could help in this broken system. Shortly after I made that decision, I went to the dermatologist and got the diagnosis that I had skin cancer on one side of my nose. And I had to undergo almost a half of a nose reconstruction. So when I first heard that news, I thought that is so ironic that I could make a decision that I'm gonna put myself really out there publicly. I'm gonna put myself in front of a camera where my face is gonna be shown, and then I get this diagnosis. And I could have gone down the rabbit hole of how unfair this is. I could have even said this means I shouldn't do it. And I could have just given up on doing it. But because I'm so focused on using a growth mindset in my own life, not to say that the initial shock and feelings weren't valid and weren't there, they were. But once I got over that, I started making videos. And then a couple months later, had the surgery to reconstruct half of my nose. So what's the example of a growth mindset in this whole thing? Once I got over the initial shock of the information, I actually embraced the challenge of it. So I knew that this was going to be a really difficult thing internally. It was going to be really hard for me to put myself out there, to have people critiquing me, to have people looking at me and saying, she looks weird, or she's got a bandage on her nose. If you look back at some of my earlier videos, you can see that I have a bandage on one side of my nose. And if you zoom in, don't do it, but if you did zoom in, you'd see that my nose is uneven. But some of those things I've actually taught myself to embrace, to feel like this is a challenge and it's really uncomfortable for me. There's so many things about it I don't like, and the fact that I don't like it makes me want to do it. The other way that that's an example of a growth mindset is to persist even in the face of setbacks. So getting the news that I needed to have surgery was a setback, but I persisted through it anyway. I know and I embrace the idea that we grow and learn through difficulty. And so when it comes to this YouTube channel and the difficulty of me getting to this point where actually today is day 60 of putting a video up every day, I'm going to decrease from this point on. But just going through that process, when I think back, it's a very powerful thing to be able to look back on something that was extremely challenging, extremely difficult, and know that you persisted through it. And actually, I've learned so much in this process. But the most important thing is that I learned about myself. I learned about how strong I am, how resilient I am. And that's something that's going to carry me through my whole life. No matter what happens with this YouTube channel, if it doesn't go anywhere, I'm always going to be really, really happy that I did it because of what I learned for myself. Hopefully some of the information will get out to others and hopefully it's helpful. But who I've become and who I'll continue to become in the process is really the most important thing. So this is the example I used with my caregiver client, and I think he understood it. So I thought maybe I'd share it with everybody else. Thank you for watching today's video. Please like and share, subscribe to this channel. Don't zoom in on my face, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.